Hey guys, just finished watching Cloak and Dagger, Season 2, Episode 4, Rabbit Hole. Rabbit Hold. Wow, what an interesting episode. I just really love this show. It is such an interesting show, and we're starting to dive deep into the whole mystery of the kind of Cloak's dimension and stuff. And in the comics, if I'm not mistaken, there's all kinds of different demons and stuff in there. He's able to send out some demons and stuff, so some creatures from his dimensions and stuff. And he has to kind of make sure he's be careful that the dimension doesn't take over and make him go crazy and stuff and go all evil. And Tandy has to kind of use her powers to help him, to keep him in the light side, keep him from losing control of his powers and stuff. And I think that would be an interesting idea to kind of set up, but it doesn't seem like they're doing that route, although we don't know yet. Just only episode 4. We still have a few more episodes before the end of the season, so we could always end the season with some sort of thing that kind of has Cloak trying to use his powers so much that they take over so much out of him that his powers kind of evolve a bit too much, out of control, and he needs Tandy to help kind of control them. And in the comics, she also has to use her powers. She has to kind of help him with his powers, because if she doesn't use her powers in a certain amount of time, they just end up discharging uncontrollably, and she ends up hurting people. So I think that could be an interesting idea, seeing that with both of their powers by the end of this season, having them kind of overuse their powers, and their powers getting out of control, but they need each other to kind of an outlet for each other's powers, right, type thing. And I think that could be an interesting idea to play with. So we learn in this episode, we see the gang that Tyrone was after learns about his name and stuff from a police wanted poster, and O'Reilly ends up calling. And then Tandy enters Tyrone and stuff, goes into his dimension, and O'Reilly calls Tyrone on the phone to talk to him, and she's on the phone in the police precinct talking to him. She's like, "Hey, they saw your wanted poster. You're on the run." And it's just the location that she said it, which is kind of so silly. She easily could have walked into the bathroom or walked over somewhere outside up to a roof, to have a cigarette, because she smokes, right? We have seen her smoking before, so it wouldn't make sense that she would go somewhere to try and hide a cigarette, shameful cigarette type thing. And she ends up calling Tyrone. That would have made more sense than standing right in the middle of this police station talking about someone's wanted poster. Because if anyone happened to be listening to her conversation or just overheard the words that "your wanted poster," that gives it away. She's talking about someone who they're looking for, and that she's she knows where he is. And it just kind of is a bit silly that she would just say things like that such open. It's not like if anyone overheard anything of that conversation, it would have easily tipped her. They would have been suspicious of her, at least somewhat. So I think that was a bit silly of her. She could have easily just kind of walked outside to have that conversation over the phone. So we see Tyrone ends up going home because the gangs are going after, I guess somehow they've learned about Tyrone's address and stuff, because, O'Reilly mentions that, on file at his mother's place is there, but it's like, I guess the gang have someone inside at the police precinct, but after Connors, who do they have left in there? It would have been interesting to see that, maybe to see them getting a text from someone, just saying, okay, cool, there's someone who was friends of, who was connected with O'Connor's, who still sending them information type thing. I could see that, but it would have been cool. All we needed is one of the gang members to get a text saying, here's the address type thing, and that's when they show up. They go to the address, right? That would have made more sense. I mean, we did see the one guy, say the name over the phone, but it would have been nice to see someone, maybe just a random police officer, or even not even seeing that, someone, just a gang member texting Tyrone, "Can you give me an address for Tyrone?" And then they get the address back, and it says, just cop or whatever, just give us a random name, officer so-and-so. We don't really need to see. What we need to see is the phone, right? So that would have been nice to see that, to get an idea, just to confirm that they do have a source in there, because this is just like, they just know where he is, and there's no explanation. We don't know how they got the information, where Tyrone's house is on file type of thing, or his parents live. We see Tyrone is unable to teleport with his mother, which is kind of weird, because he's been able to teleport the whole time with O'Connor's inside of him and with Mayhem inside of him in this dimension. But now that Tandy's there, he's not able to teleport, which was kind of weird. They don't really explain that too much, but hopefully we get to see that a bit more. We'll have to wait and see as to where things go with that. And also would have been cool to see him kind of trying multiple times. He only tries the one time to actually teleport, or to use his powers, especially when the guy had the gun pointed at him and his mother. he didn't even try to do anything or use his powers or anything like that. It would have been cool just to see him try a couple of times and not being able to do it. And that would have been really interesting. It also would have been cool to see at some point seeing him teleporting. It would have been cool to see his mother learn to do that, learn to see his mother's reaction to that, you know? I think that'd be kind of interesting to seeing all that, and to see as to where things could go when she learns about that, his powers and stuff. I think it could be quite fun to play with. We see Tandy's, they find this kind of record store with all kinds of missing girls' names on there, and Tandy's name is on a bunch of them. Listing out her whole life there, all the dark moments in her past, and she lists some of the newer records which looked like they were kind of still in cellophane. I'm like, well, they've never been listened to before. I thought they'd be maybe future events or something like that, for possible futures or something, but it looks like they were just all the extremely dark moments of her childhood and stuff, so that was really interesting and cool playing with that. Then we see Tyrone ends up finally teleporting at the end when he's about to give himself up. He teleports away, and Tandy and O'Connor's comes out of the portal. But we do not see Mayhem come out of the portal, which I assume that she is. They don't show her. It doesn't really look like they show her in the next trailer for the next episode. But since Tandy and Connors were in the same exact room, like within a couple of feet from each other, with Mayhem, it wouldn't make sense for Mayhem to still be inside of there, unless they're going with that one thing that because she's half a person, you know, that may be why she's still down there. But it still it's still kind of hard to believe that she's not out. But we'll have to wait and see as to where things go with her. So. Let me know what you think, guys, about this show in the comments below, what you think about this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.